what, 1-2, sometimes 3-point underdog, and here they find themselves again as a 3-point underdog. I think there's just a lot of value in the Denver Nuggets, considering they've been basically the #1 seed in the Western Conference for an extended period of time. They have the best player in the series, so they have 2 of the 3 best players that are in the series. And they just have a lot of confidence in the Denver Nuggets. I don't think the Heat are being undervalued. I just think they think the Nuggets have the better team. And when you think someone, and look, Vegas is not, they don't really care about, this or that. They're trying to win money. And right now it seems to be that everybody is still betting their money on the Denver Nuggets. Now, we could see this line between now and tip-off, Skip. It might come down. I don't see it going up, but it might come down. But I think the proper value is where it is, considering that the Heat has did steal a game on the road. They played very, very well at home. But I don't think they're being undervalued. I think there's just a lot of value with the Denver Nuggets and what they represent. So I'm not surprised that the Heat are an underdog.
I'm going to ask the odds makers what I keep asking you. When will you ever learn about this Miami Heat team? I have never in my career seen anything like this Miami Heat team. Do you need to bring this in? You can bring it in. You go ahead. There you go.
You get you some TV time.
Yeah, there you
go ahead.
You can't be without your ammunition.
Go ahead.
Okay. So here's the point. Over this playoff run,
right?
Think about this. 10 times the Heat have been underdogs and outright won the game. 10 times. That is an all-time NBA playoff record. And we still got at least three games to go, right?
Well, if you bet with the Heat, you won a lot of money thus far in the playoffs.
Okay. So then here's the other side of this.
Okay.
They have 7 postseason wins after trailing by at least 10 points, 10 or more points.
Right.
That's impossibly great,
right?
Because it just doesn't happen that frequently in the NBA playoffs. It's just hard, especially when during the season you rank 25th in offensive efficiency, and during the season you rank 27th in three-point shooting, right?
What's most impressive about the stat that you just gave, think about how many of those games have come on the road. You understand teams come from behind at home, Skip, because the crowd get into it. You make a couple of threes, the crowd get into it, you're right back in the ball game. But for them to do it twice against Boston, Boston had a 13-point lead, and to do it again against the #1 seed.
What they just achieved in Game 2 was all-time extraordinary, and it's not getting the credit it deserves, because it's starting to be ho-hum for the Miami Heat to do this to superior teams.
Right.
I've given you all along, Bucks are better than the Heat, at least on paper. The Celtics are way better than the Heat, at least on paper. Oh, Denver is way better than the Miami Heat, at least on paper, but not on the floor. Not when the ball gets tipped, because this team has become a force of basketball nature, the likes of which I've never seen, because Cinderellas don't win NBA championships. It's too many 7-game series to fight through, and you're going to get exposed as an 8-seed fraud. At some point, somebody will expose you. It's too many games.
Well, Skip, they're only the 2nd seed to make it this far. The Knicks made it, but they were swept by San Antonio in '99. Now, think about it.
Remember, that was the strike season that they played only 50 games. Okay? And
but
Patrick Ewing was hurt, so go ahead. Okay.
So you have to give the Heat some credit, Skip, because they've already won more games than that Knicks team. So we know they're not going to get swept. And now they come home, having stolen home court away from the Denver Nuggets. So, Skip, when you look at it, you're like, this is an 8 seed. It's hard. How do you get that out of your mind? Even though Mike Malone says this is not your typical 8 seed, but they are. They're 8 seed. I don't care what you try to make them out to be. They came into these playoffs as the 8th seed.
Okay. And then what happened? They lost at home to the Hawks, the Atlanta Hawks that I never loved all year. And guess what the rebound advantage was for the Hawks that night? This is at Miami. 63-39. Hawks battered them, bullied them on the backboards. 63-39.
Capella had like 20-something, right?
Offensive rebounds. It was absurd what happened to this team. No rebounds, no rings, said the godfather of the Miami Heat, Pat Riley, once upon a time. And then you jumped on the Bulls bandwagon, and I did not blame you. I'm not ridiculing you for this because everybody did.
Right.
And I wrote it down, with 3:47 left in the game, the Bulls were up 3 points. 3:47. They are 3 minutes and 47 seconds at home from being eliminated from the play-in, not the playoffs, from the play-in. And Jimmy Butler, with 2:17 left, hit a driving layup that put him up 1, and they hung on and survived. That's all they did, was survive. And before you knew it, they had eliminated the Milwaukee Bucks, the best defensive team in basketball. I don't care what you say. That between Drew Holiday and Brook Lopez and Giannis, that's the best defensive team in basketball. That's the best that I saw all year. I know the Lakers came on late, but
consistently throughout.
Yes, consistently throughout. This is the best. Heat in 5, huh? And Drew Holiday said after that series, I don't care. You could have Michael Jordan in his prime, LeBron in his prime, sitting in the chair, as you say. None of those guys, neither of those guys, could have stopped Jimmy Butler, who was making shot after shot after shot on Drew Holiday.
What was that, game 4? He had 56?
This is ridiculous. Okay, too good. Okay, Heat in 5.
Right.
And then here come the Knicks, and the Heat were a slight underdog to the Knicks because the Knicks had arrived. They were on the rise, but they had arrived in most people's eyes.
Yeah, because they had beaten Cleveland.
Yeah, and looked pretty good doing it.
And
I thought they were legit. And what happened? It took 6 games, but the Heat prevailed, and nobody really noticed until, wait a second, here comes Boston. And then everybody said prohibitive favorite Boston. Games 1 and 2, they were 8-point and then 9-point favorites at home. And you know the rest of the story. The Heat go up 3-0, then lose 3 straight, and everybody presumes they are going to be the victims of NBA history because Boston's going to be the first ever to come back from 0-3 down to win it in 7 games because they got game 7 at home. It's not on the road. It's at home. They got blown off the floor in game 7. It was a complete and utter annihilation and embarrassment for Celtic pride and Celtic Nation. And you say, wait a second, is this legit or not? Game 1, it looked like a mismatch at Denver. For the most part, they rallied back in the 4th quarter, and they hit 6 out of 12 threes. And I said, well, maybe they'll take some of that momentum into game 2.
They did.
And they did. Max Strus goes 0 for 10 in the first game and 0 for 9 from 3. And he comes out in the first quarter and says, no, I got this. He made 4 out of 7 threes and kept them afloat.
Yeah, he did.
And then yet late 2nd quarter, they go up by 13. 13?
Another
15.
15.
No, 15. They went by 15, and I'm saying, that's it.
Yeah.
On to game 3. Maybe they can win a couple of games at home. And they fought back. It's only a 6-point game at halftime. Then Jimmy Butler goes 0 for 5 in the 3rd quarter, while Jokic scored 18 in the 3rd quarter. And just in the second half, he looked invincible, scored 28 of his 41.
Well, the thing was, Skip, he scored 18 in the 3rd, and even though he was doing his thing, the Heat had to feel good that, like, yeah, he went crazy, but we're only down 6.
Okay. They're down 8 going to the 4th quarter. And all of a sudden, Eric Spoelstra pushes the Duncan Robinson button.
Duncan Robinson.
What? And it wasn't 10 straight, but he scores 10 quick points in just under 2 minutes.
Well, he outscored him 10-2 by himself.
10-2. He goes 3, driving layup, 3, driving layup, and the second 3 was just a flat-out, in-your-face bomb.
Right.
And you look up, and an 8-point lead is evaporated into a 3-point Heat lead, and they never looked back.
Right.
And they were up 12 with 3.5 minutes left. And it got tight, and Jamal had a last-second shot, so you can say, well, but still, the odds makers are still saying, no. They're saying exactly what they said in the Milwaukee series and in the Boston series. These teams are still superior to that team. And so this game coming up tomorrow night, it's a 3-point game in favor of the visiting team.
Right.
And I keep saying, okay, it's about to be shame on you because you're going to swing and miss again because this team is legit. Even though over the last 7 games, Jimmy Butler has not been playoff Jimmy.
Right.
He's been way off Jimmy. He's averaging 21, 7, and 7, which sounds okay, but you would think they're solo star.
Well, that 21, 7, and 7 doesn't make you playoff Jimmy.
No, it does not.
It's the Herculean
Well,
numbers
you just said 56 does.
Yes,
or
the 35 and
35.
10. The game 5 in the finals against the Lakers.
Oh.
That makes you playoff Jimmy.
Game 1 against Boston at Boston, 35. I'll go with that.
Right.
But 21, and guess what he's shooting from the floor over those 7 games? 39%. That's way off Jimmy,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And he was 7 of 19 in game 2. And you would think, well, that's not good enough to get you through. It was good enough.
Right.
I still don't quite get how they do it, but this is the classic. Look, LeBron doesn't live here anymore, right? Like